Assalamu alaikum. How are you, grade 9? With you, Mr. Mustafa, biology teacher at Pillars of Knowledge Private School. Let's start our lesson in biology. Classification of living things. Classification of living things. Before we starting, we have to know what is the characteristics of living things. First, biology is the study of living things, which are often called organisms. So, organisms equal living things. Living organisms have 7 features or characteristics which makes them different from objects that are not alive. The definition of these characteristics are shown in your book, page 2. The first one is movement. Movement. So what is the meaning of movement? Simply, movement means able to change your position from place to another. So all organisms are able to move to some extent. Most animals can move their whole body from place to place, and plants can slowly move parts of themselves. Okay? So all living organisms can move. Number 2, respiration. Respiration means breathing or equal breathing. All organisms break down glucose and other substances inside their cells to release energy that they can use. This is respiration. And sensitivity. What is the meaning of sensitivity? Sensitivity means all organisms pick up information about changes in their environment and react to the changes. But you have receptors and effectors. Receptors, your hand, your nose, your tongue, your ears, and your skin. So they can pick up the stimuli and do reaction. Number 4 is growth. Growth, as you know, when your child you change it today. So all organisms begin small and they get larger by the growth of their cells and by adding new cells to their bodies. This is growth. Means increase in size. Okay? And heights. Reproduction. Reproduction, all we know, organisms are able to make a new organisms of the same species as themselves. Okay? Okay. Excretion. Excretion means all organisms produce unwanted or toxic wastes products as a result of their metabolic reactions, and they must be removed from the body. This is excretion. The last one is nutrition. Nutrition, eating and drinking. All organisms take substances from their environment, use them to provide energy or materials to make new cells. This is nutrition. Okay, so firstly, the characteristics of living things: movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and finally nutrition. Okay. This is the definition. Movement, the ability to change position or part of the or body, or all the body. Respiration, the breakdown of food molecules inside living cells to release energy. Sensitivity, the ability to sense and respond changes in the internal or external environment. Growth, growth, yes, the permanent increase in mass, size, or number of cells. Reproduction, the ability to produce organisms of the same kind. Excretion, removal of metabolic wastes, toxic molecules, and substances in the excess of requirement from the body. Finally, nutrition, taking in substances needed for growth, respiration, and repair. Let's speak about classification. Classification means putting things into groups. Putting things into groups. But in biology, classification means putting all living organisms in groups. As we know, there are many possible ways in which we could group living organisms. For example, we can put all of organisms with with legs in one group, and will this without legs in another. Or we could put all organisms in one group and blue in other. Okay, so why do we need to classify living things? There are over 1.4 million different species of discovered organisms on the earth. We classify them to make studying them easier. As like your library, if you arrange your books like Arabic books, chemistry books, physics books, biology books, you will find it easily. Organisms are divided into 5 large groups called kingdoms. Kingdoms: animals, plants, bacteria, fungi, and protists. By simple method, classification system. Classification system, as we know, the first person who tried to classify organisms in the scientific ways was Swedish called Carlos Linus. Carlos Linus, he introduced his system classification in 1735. He divided all different kinds of living things into groups called species. So what is the meaning of species? Species were groups of organisms that share the same appearance and behavior, and they able to breed or breeding and produce a new individual from the same kind. Okay, so we have to know something called the binomial naming system. The binomial naming system, the first scientist who creates the binomial naming system in the world is Carlos Linus. The scientific name of any organism consists of 2 syllables. The first name indicates the name of genus and always has capital letter. And the second name indicates the same of species and always has small letter. So, any living organism, its name consists of 2 parts. The first indicates the species, the genus, and always starts with capital letter. And the second name indicates the name of species and always has a small letter. As like Felis domesticus, it means cat. Felis domesticus, the F should be capital. Felis domesticus, and Felis is the genus name. Domesticus is the species name. D small. Okay. So we have to know the new classification system. Classification system, as we said, Carlos Linus, with kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. Finally, I have to thank you very much for listening, and this is part 1. Wait for part 2. Goodbye.